Okay, cool. Well, hello, Iana. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see if anybody else hops on the call as well. My name's Emma. I'm one of the global enrollment specialists here at the Chicago School.
Hi, Ayana. I'm Danny. I'm also one of the global enrollment specialists.
Yes, so today we'll just go through some information about the university, the programs that we offer, and then anything specific to international students, we'll just clarify with you, Iana, and those are things that we can connect you then with a domestic counselor about.
So Iana, during this as well, feel free to ask any questions. You don't have to mute yourself. Since it's just us three, we'll have it kind of more as an informal conversation. So feel free to chime in anytime you're ready. Cool.
So just as an overview, so what should I know about the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, or as we refer to it as TCSPP? So TCSPP is a nonprofit, regionally accredited professional school. We have master's and doctoral programs online, as well as on ground here in the US. About 6,000 students, over 77 countries represented. Our campuses include Chicago, Southern California, so Los Angeles, Irvine, San Diego, Dallas, and Washington, D.C. The university was founded in 1979 and has been an innovator in the field of psychology ever since, and different behavioral science programs. And we do offer more than 20 degree programs as well.
Yeah, so of course we're all affected by COVID right now. So what's going on at the Chicago School? So our campuses are temporarily closed. We are unsure what's going to happen in the fall of 2021. We hope that campuses will be reopened, but we're just not sure. Likewise with borders, we're not sure if those will be open as well. But we are accepting applications for all upcoming terms and campuses. So we're still working online. All of us are. We're working remotely. Some students are actually back at campuses doing their programs virtually, but also in person. So we're trying it. Some people are able to do it, but most of it is going to be virtual, especially if you are abroad right now.
So this is a condensed list of some of the programs that we offer. Iana, can I ask, are you a high school student? Are you in university? What level program are you looking for?
Yes, right now I'm in high school. I'm in the 11th grade.
Okay, great. So you're getting an early start on checking out universities. That's good. So we do have a Bachelor's of Arts program with TCSPP in general psychology. And then from there, we have master's and doctorate programs in more specific areas of study. So clinical mental health counseling, counseling psychology, marriage and family therapy, forensic psychology, and so on. And so those, again, those more specific courses will come at the master's or doctorate levels, and the Bachelor's of Arts is in general.
Yeah, so, despite being in high school, it's always great, like Emma said, to be looking forward. So once you're actually finished with the program, maybe with your bachelor's, if you want to move on to your master's, a lot of students after they graduate work in hospitals, community centers, NGOs, higher education, private practice, and in other sectors as well. So like Emma said with the programs before, those kind of tailor you to certain sectors that you can work in. For example, we have like a Masters of Public Health. So that might go more towards like an NGO or a hospital. And then other programs like a clinical psychology program might be more geared towards a private practice. So you have quite a few options after you're finished graduating, and we have a great alumni network to help you out with that as well.
So from the Chicago School as a university, and this goes for international students as well as US citizens like you, we have a really wide range of resources available for current students. So from things like specific enrollment departments who will help you from the very first step of the application process until you start your program. And then once you do, there's student support services who will guide you throughout your program, making sure you're always in the right classes and, checking on how your grades are going and everything like that. There are student groups, mentor programs, counseling services, different centers on campuses for students who want to gain more practical experience, as well as writing centers, tutoring, everything like that. So there's a really full list and a lot of options available for students for any type of support they need.
All right, so the admissions requirements. So for the bachelor's program for you, Ayana, it's going to be a little bit different than a lot of these documents, but this is a general checklist for all admissions. So you'll have an application form that you need to fill out, which can be found online, and we can send you a PDF copy as well. So this is maybe like a 5 to 10 minute document that you need to fill out for your background information, like what your name is, your address, citizenship status, and where you went to school. Then we have other documents like your resume or CV. We understand if you're a high school student, maybe you haven't had similar opportunities to someone who's applying for like a PhD program. So we totally understand that. There are program-specific essays that you would need to fill out as well, just so we get to understand you more as a person rather than just looking specifically at the numbers and letters on your transcript that are coming in. In addition, we're looking at letters of recommendation, so those can come from current or former supervisors or professors. So that's also a good way for us to get to know what kind of projects you were working on and what kind of student you were in the classroom as well, or what kind of employee you are in the workplace. And since you're coming from Canada, so there's some fine print here. So we're able to evaluate your transcript if you're a Canadian student or a Canadian national. So that likewise applies to US degrees, UK, and a couple of other countries as well. But if that doesn't apply, then we'll have you do a transcript evaluation from a NACES approved agency. So it has to be course by course here. And that means that we'll see your actual GPA or your average marks on that transcript evaluation as well. If your education or your first language is not English, then we'll have you take a TOEFL or IELTS. So that helps us understand where your English proficiency levels are as well. And then specifically for the upper level programs, like the PsyD clinical psychology program, we'll have you submit your GRE scores. And it looks like someone just joined us. Hi, Josephine.
Hello.
Okay, a little muted, but that's all right.
Feel free to come say hi.
Iana, do you have any questions so far about like admissions requirements or the institution?
No, right now I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, so another common question we get from students is if a degree or background in psychology is required for graduate programs. So again, if you have a bachelor's in psychology, that's great, but we have a lot of students who apply for our master's programs who don't have that specific background. They may have a bachelor's in business or engineering or another degree, and they want to do a career change. So we do accept those as well. Some programs have some prerequisite courses that are required, but again, we can help you with that and go through that specific program. But in general, it's not required as long as you have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. So again, these are things that your enrollment admissions counselor will be helping you with at the time of admission. So if you have specific questions about your background or the program that you want to apply for, we can help you with that too.
Oh, no problem, Josephine. Thanks. You can just use the chat if you have a question as well. So how do I apply? So we went over the application requirements. So this is what the actual application portal and the application form will look like for you. So you'll select your specific program. So for example, maybe the Bachelor's of Psychology. Then you'll choose one of your campuses. So your first choice, so that can either be for the Bachelor's, for example, Chicago, Los Angeles, or online. And if you have any questions about the differences between the campuses or what they offer, what kind of living situation are present there as well, we'd be happy to go over that with you. And then your upcoming term. So like we said before, all campuses are open for upcoming terms. For the on-ground campuses, we have intakes in August and in January. And then for our online campuses, they run every 7 weeks. So the next intake is in early May, and then after that will be in July and then in August.
Yes. So one of the most important questions is how much does tuition cost? So the tuition is the same across the board for US citizens as well as international students. And the Chicago School's tuition goes by credit hour. And we'll get into what that means shortly. But this is the general list of what the cost is per credit hour by program level. So at the bachelor's level, it's $465 US. At the certificate or master's, 1,234. Our EdS program is 1,275. And at the doctorate level, it's 1,537 US. These are subject to change at the fall semester of every school year. So we'll keep you up to date with that. But this is what our cost per credit hour is at this moment.
All right, let's do some math. So this is what it actually looks like here. So for example, for the first part here, so per credit hour, like Emma said, it's 1,234 US. And then you'd multiply that by 40 credits in the program. So usually 40 credit programs are about 2 years. And likewise with our master's programs, generally they are 2-year programs. So in total, that's about 50,000 US. So each year for the tuition cost of the program, that would be about 25,000 US. And then you'll see here, Masters of Counseling is 60 credits. The PhD Business Psychology is also 60 credits, but the difference between those is the levels there. So it's a PhD Business Psychology program. So that would be 1,537 US compared to the master's level, which is 1,234. So this gives a good breakdown of the cost of the tuition. And then of course, there are other fees associated, like you're ordering books. And if you're coming to campus, then there's also living costs as well.
Okay, so going off of that, what financial support is available to international students? So for you, Iana, these particular grants may not apply, but we'll go through them anyway. So for international students applying, the very first option is our international student grant. So for any student who applies and is accepted to their program, they're automatically awarded this grant. It's worth 10% of the total tuition. Going from there, the Global Impact Scholarship is also for international students specifically. It is a contest for international students who are currently in their program. So this would be once you start and you're at the university or in your online program, you can apply for this. The Deans and Presidents Scholarships, these are merit-based scholarships. So this would also be post-acceptance. Our department and the campus to where you are applying will do a final overview of your application and your GPA to see if there's any other scholarship available for you. These can range from $1,000 to $2,000 or $3,000. We can also share our institutional aid page with anybody who, if you want to share your email with us, we can send that to you to see other offers and determine your eligibility. And international students are also eligible to work on campus part-time. So if you are coming to the US on your student visa and there's a job opening on campus, maybe in our administration or in different offices, you can apply for those. International students, unfortunately, are not eligible for U.S. federal financial aid, and we do not offer any full funding or scholarships. So it's good to review the institutional aid page. And when working with either Danny or with me, we can confirm what your full costs will be and what your payments will look like.
Yeah, so despite not being eligible for federal financial aid, Canadian students are eligible for provincial financial aid. So we are a US institution that's eligible to receive funding from OSAP, from Alberta, and from British Columbia. So those are the three provinces that we're eligible for right now. If you're coming from a different province, then we would, do the same kind of application process through a similar program from where you're coming from. So maybe Newfoundland has a separate one, then we can see what we can do for that to be able to receive those provincial loans as well.
Okay, that is the very general overview of the Chicago School and some of our program information. Are there any questions now? Jana or Josephine, if you want to unmute or put it in the chat, we're happy to go through anything with you.
Yes, I have a question. If I were to do my BA here in Canada, would that still count as a BA in the States?
Yes, good question. We work with a lot of Canadian students, and I have never come across an issue with any equivalency. I know they're typically also 4-year programs. So as long as it's from an accredited university, so a regionally accredited university, there shouldn't be any issues. But again, at the time of applying, we will take your transcripts and do an evaluation of that here on our end, just to make sure. But I haven't come across any issues. I don't know, Danny, if you have otherwise.
No, they're really, there's a lot of parity between them. So we haven't had any student that has come from, any province that has had an issue with getting their equivalency report finished. Good question.
Okay, thank you. And also, if I wanted to be some sort of therapist, I'm not sure which kind, and I wanted to go into private practice, what would be the steps I would need to take from high school on?
Yeah, good question. So what we typically see students doing to work in private practice, so you complete your bachelor's in psychology or a related field. Sometimes students don't do that. Sometimes they take, a different path to becoming a private practitioner. So what you would do is complete your bachelor's degree, and then usually students that come to us go into 2 different kind of programs to do that private practice. So one of them is the Master's of Counseling Psychology, and the other is a Master's of Clinical Mental Health Counseling Psychology. So those both lead to an LPC licensure, which is a licensed practicing counselor. And that allows you to practice, but not to run your own practice. So you can work at a private practice, but if you're looking to become a full-on licensed psychologist, that would take a program like our PsyD clinical psychology program. So in total, if you're looking, for just your master's after that bachelor's, that's an additional 2 years. But the PsyD program that we offer is a post-bachelor's program. So you can enter into that program directly from your bachelor's if you have studied and have the prerequisite courses. So that would take about 5 years after your 4-year bachelor's degree.
Okay, thank you. And also, can you please explain to me the difference between the PsyD and the PhD?
Yes, that's a great question. So with the Chicago School, our main difference is that we don't have a PhD in clinical psychology. The PhD programs we offer here are in business psychology, applied behavior analysis, organizational, those areas. So from our end, the PsyD is the only one that has the clinical program. In general, a PsyD versus a PhD is much more applied. And the goal is really for students who want to, like you said, work in a private practice, be that psychologist, work with clients, whereas a PhD is very research heavy, maybe to continue working in research, to work in academia, something like that. So the PsyD really sends students to go work in that clinical capacity, and it's much more applied.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Tario, it looks like you just joined us. We actually just finished up with the presentation, but we did record it, so we'd be happy to send it to you and to Josephine, who missed about half of it as well. But if you have any questions, if you've read about us on our website, or you're curious about psychology in general, feel free to ask any questions of us while we're still here, or you can take down some of our information right here as well.
Yep, these are all of our emails. We both use WhatsApp as well. So if you're more comfortable texting, you can send us a message there.
Great, no questions from Josephine then. Tario, do you have any questions?
Not at this time. I think I will just reach out to one of you via email for the presentation, the recorded presentation.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Okay, thanks everybody for joining. And we look forward to getting in touch with you.
Yeah, take care, stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Likewise.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't want to close it if the recording is still going.